hitting our planet. That's pretty much a real threat. It's not a huge... There's not like a huge rush for it, but it is something... And it's like, I'm just saying, it's not going to happen tomorrow. And also, Gary, you were wrong. A meteor hit us. Ha ha ha. Is there any sheep around here? That's a polar bear. I don't think it's an immediate problem, but it could become an immediate problem, and we would need to fix it really, really darn quick. And you can't throw a nuke at it. If it's a decent-sized meteor, a nuke is not going to affect it. I've seen shows on this too, and how would we deflect this? Basically, you would have to veer it away is the best solution. But nobody's ever tested anything like that. But the thing is, even a nuclear bomb on a good-sized asteroid, not gonna really do much but break most of it up into smaller chunks, causing more area of damage. And even so, if it broke in half, the meteor is going to release the same amount of energy. In other words, a big, huge explosion in two places, and you're going to get the same effect anyway. I mean, it's all theoretical, but it's a possibility. I mean, the only disaster I can't see us preventing is like a gamma ray burst from another star. That would just suck. Many orders over. If you don't know what a gamma ray burst is, basically when a star novas and releases its radioactive energy, usually it focuses on like a beam, like you've probably seen pulsars and whatnot. It's something similar to that, where it just travels right through space, the speed of light. And the problem is you can't predict them, because once you are in the realm of predicting a gamma ray burst, you are in the gamma ray burst. So there's not much you can really do about that. It's not like you can make a big shield like Captain America to block that sort of thing. The only thing that would prevent that sort of thing is to not have all your eggs in one basket, which would be on another planet. A long time ago, I read stories by an author named John Varley, I think his name was. Fascinating. And again, in his stories, just like Arthur C. Clarke's 3001, we didn't really move out of the solar system, but mankind had made a bunch of advancements in like cloning and brain taping, so like if you died, you basically were recreated as you were before. So essentially people were immortal. But in those stories, they had some fascinating concepts like wrangling black holes. Maybe they did. No, they did go beyond the Earth, because they were going out to nearby systems and wrangling black holes, and they would stick them in the center of Pluto as an energy source. Real interesting, right? But you can actually contain a black hole theoretically within a theoretical field. So I'm not sure how that works, so don't ask me. And what else did they have? They had grown symbiotes out of the human genome. Basically, they were a different type of human, but bred and altered specifically to serve you, kind of. But they weren't really sentient. Like, they didn't have a brain. They were just kind of this living mass of tissue. And the symbiotes allowed you to go in space. You could live on Mercury. All this other kind of stuff. They had actually people who lived in asteroids, and I found that kind of fascinating. They actually had an interplanetary swimming pool that they called Blue Champagne, because the swimming pool was shaped like a big glass of champagne. And the people who went there were genetically altered to get gills. So you didn't really have to worry about drowning either. You basically had kind of a biological or technological solution for these simple sort of problems in these stories. But again, those things are not out of the realm of possibilities. they're out of our realm of possibilities to kind of envision right now. Yeah, Arthur C. Clarke was probably one of my favorite science fiction authors. Among them was the Rendezvous with Rama series. And I originally got into that because there was a video game back when I was a kid for the Commodore 64 called Rendezvous with Rama. But it was based off of a series of adventure games from a now long gone company called Trillium. And they made the games that they made were Fahrenheit 451, which was a sequel to Fahrenheit 451, the book, and Amazon, which was supposed to be a Michael Crichton written story. Shadowkeep, and I think that was it. And then there was Rendezvous with Rama. So I had originally gotten into Arthur C. Clarke through this video game. And his stories, the Rendezvous with Rama story was just fascinating because basically a spaceship was approaching Earth. And, where's this volcano coming out at? I see spewing blocks. Oh, this is an earthquake. This is not... Oh, dear. I'm actually going to turn around for a second. So, a spaceship approaches Earth. It is a cylinder. And it was about, I think it was 15 kilometers long was the size that I remember. It's big. When you think about it, it's about, was it 15 kilometers long? It was very big because there were cities inside this thing. It was a big cylinder, and basically they just went in, and they didn't really encounter the aliens. They found a whole bunch of stuff they couldn't explain, and the main crux of the story was that they were exploring the ship, and they had no idea what they were looking at. Everything was so alien. The cities, there was an ocean, there was kind of like this ocean in the middle, a cylindrical ocean, and the city in the center, which they called New York because it was kind of like it kind of looked like Manhattan Island and whatnot. They explored all that. There were other small cities, but the only thing they found as far as life forms on there were just kind of like these automaton, these automaton robots that just clean stuff up. But there were no aliens and no sign of the aliens. And the only thing they figured out about these aliens is that they did everything in threes. That was it. But the main storyline was that these aliens, whoever they were, sent the ship, and it was just going by Earth. It wasn't going to stop at Earth. Just using our sun to get a boost of speed, and then shoot off to whatever destination it had. So they never really found out, but the main problem was that they were running out of time while trapped in the big cylinder, and they had to get out. And they had no idea how any of this stuff worked. And it was just very lucky that a ship in the first place was near the orbit where this ship that they called Rama was going to be. So then he left that book like that for probably over 20 years, because it was written in the 60s or 70s, I think. And in the 1990s, he came out with a new trilogy with Gentry Lee, which would be a new Rendezvous with Rama series, continuing after the first one. So they figured out, well, at the end, they were like, Ramans do everything in threes. So, lo and behold, another Rama ship comes by some years later after the first one. And by that time, all the main characters are long gone. And And so they're like, okay, we gotta catch up with this one and figure out more about these guys, because there's another ship, and since they do everything in threes, there's probably going to be another ship after that. So they manage to get a ship to intercept it, and this time though, they get stuck on the ship, and they end up having issues with each other while trapped on there. They get lost, all these kind of misadventures on the ship, and they have children on the ship. So basically, I think there are maybe 8 of them, and they're starting to already think about how to plan out a society on this ship that's floating through space. They don't even know if they're ever going to be able to return to Earth. So they're like, well, if we're going to be the first space-faring Earth people, well, we got to kind of plan ahead. And chances are that there's another Rama ship following up behind that one. And so they make it to the one of their ports, basically, a ramen port, and they're actually reassigned. They were reassessed by the aliens there, which were just more automatons like the ones that they found on the ship originally, but a little bit smarter. And a couple of them stay with the space station, and the rest of them go back to Earth because the Raman alien automatons want more specimens from Earth. Basically, they're collecting them, but not in like a malevolent way. So they put the humans that are going back to Earth into like a cryo sleep. I think towards the point where it starts slowing down when it gets towards Earth, they wake up and they still have a little time before they get to Earth, and they meet another alien resident on the ship that they're on, which is these octo spiders that were very nice, and everything. But they had picked them up and along the way as what they were going to be doing with Earthlings. So basically, they're bringing all aliens together that they can find and collect. It wasn't malevolent or anything. Just they wanted to bring more species into a central hub. So they get to Earth and they get more.
You may well decide whether mankind is bettered or destroyed by the products of science.